Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler, the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. This Baozhong class number 4 is brought to you by my boutique, and on this boutique I have set up a sampler with 8 samples of Baozhong, one of a green tea, to help you not just get the theory about these teas, but what is more important, the practice, how to experience these teas so that we can put words on our sensations. Today we do a new kind of class. We are doing a tea fight between the Wenshan Baozhong Excellence and an Alishan Oolong. I will tell you why in a moment. We will also see the evolution of the geography of Wenshan Baozhong, because this tea has been planted in different areas, and we will see how it has evolved with time. In previous episodes of this class, we've seen that the history of Baozhong dates back to after the second part of the 19th century. So now we are in the 21st century already, so roughly 150 years of Baozhong planted in Taiwan. We will see where it started and where it has moved to. But first, because tea is a product of soil, of climate, and of know-how, I wanted to do this comparison to really better understand what is the character of Wenshan Baozhong. And to do this, the best way is not to give you lots of words, but to give you the experience of Wenshan Baozhong and to be able to compare it with a very, very similar tea from a different region. And I found this very similar tea in this Alishan Oolong from Alishan, because it is also the same cultivar that is used in this Baozhong Excellence. By the way, both have been harvested just one day apart. This one on May 4th, this one on May 3rd, by hand. They were all, both were harvested in small family-owned plantations, small businesses. So the similar setup for the process, small teams and dedicated teams, people who do the harvest, people who do the withering, and people who do then the end process of the drying and stopping the oxidation. Both also, these teas are from the same season, even just one day apart, and from Taiwan, same year, same cultivar, and what else is similar? The oxidation level even is similar. Both are lightly oxidized oolongs or Baozhongs. Here I'd use oolong in the sense that it is a rolled oolong. Here, because it's not rolled, so we use it, we call it Baozhong, and also because it comes from the north of Taiwan. And one last thing, both are not roasted. So in terms of process, the only difference is really the fact that one is rolled and one is not rolled. It looks twisted. There's a little bit more to it, of course, to this difference. We will see it next week, where I will dedicate a class on the process of making Wenshan Baozhong, and we'll compare it to the process of oolong. But already today we can experience already the taste of Baozhong compared to High Mountain Oolong. what else is the difference? This one has been harvested at an altitude of roughly 1,300 meters, and this one 600 to 700 meters. So it is, Wenshan Baozhong does not qualify as a high mountain oolong, but in terms of the northern area, northern region, we see that this area where it comes from is rather high, at 600, 700 meters in altitude. Pinglin, where it comes from, is higher than other regions in that in the Wenshan area. Yes, so let's try these two teas. We first preheat our Gaiwan. We use Gaiwan, of course, when we want to compare two teas. I have weighed both to 3 grams. This afternoon, for my French and German classes, I used 4 grams because I wanted some energy for the afternoon. But now in the evening, I think 3 grams will be enough. Otherwise, I will be up the whole night. But don't worry, I will not make this class longer than half an hour. As soon as this is warm enough, we can preheat also our cups. And yes, porcelain is a neutral material. I'm using one celadon, one ivory color, Gaiwan, slightly different shapes, but both are from the same vendor in Taiwan, my source in Taiwan, so it does not really matter. The material is the same, so it won't have much of an impact. I'm going to start with Alishan because rolled oolong takes a bit longer to open up. So I'm going to let it open up a bit longer. And as for the Baozhong, I'm going to brew slower. One could hear a mosquito fly. And now let it rest. We can preheat also our drinking cups, our singing cups in the meantime, trying to make not too much noise, being very calm. The flow of water is a nice sight. Now I weight the weight of the leaves to 3 grams, but I'm not going to wait for 6 minutes like we would do for the Dongding competition. Over there, that's the standard, 3 grams in 6 minutes. Here, it's roughly enough that we brew roughly the same time, a bit longer for the Alishan so that it opens well up. I see it's well open. And so we can check also on the Baozhong. Yeah, okay. There you go. Interesting. Now with this tea from top Jiangsu, I'm getting the lightest color for the High Mountain Oolong. I get a bit, so here's more greenish, this is more yellowish. I don't know if you can see it on the video. Now I had the case with Juifeng. Actually the Baozhong looked slightly lighter greener, but from the colors still we see not a large difference, and this color is more the indication of the oxidation level, so not a big difference in oxidation level. This one is a little bit lighter, but the leaves did open up, so it's not due to the opening of the leaves. Here also. Can smell now the Baozhong and compare it to the Alishan. Very floral, a little bit zesty citrus note. Here's a lighter color I'm eager to try. I have drank these teas on their own, but it's the first time I do this comparison of these two teas side by side. That's why for every class in French, German, and now in English, I used a different High Mountain from Alishan. Very light, a bit sweeter notes. Now we can taste it. Very quickly, you get a lot of flowery smells and this zesty touch. Very fresh, very refreshing, very nice to drink. And here it's a bit more refined, more subtle, flowery, but also with a buttery note, a very slight nutty note also, that I also had in Jiangsu, but not in Juifeng. And a lightness, but a sweetness more to it. The smells are not as powerful as in the Baozhong. Yeah. The smells are more powerful in the Baozhong, more flowery, but the taste is smoother, a bit buttery for the Alishan. That's very interesting, and with this we are really able to get the difference between the terroir, between what the soil and the know-how and a little bit the climate also change in the taste and aromas of this Qingxing Oolong, even though it was processed in at a very similar oxidation level. But the difference, so here you get the High Mountain, the Alishan character, the Alishan Oolong character, and here with the Baozhong Excellence you get the character of Wenshan Baozhong. Again, maybe slightly acidic, so this zesty lemon note, but more flowery, more more flowers, more fragrant, which for me shows one thing, is that we know that Baozhong started a long time ago, and High Mountain Oolongs are something that only started in 1980, 1990, end of the 1980s. So almost 100 years later, but if you had to drink them blind and you don't know so much about High Mountain Oolong, you would almost think, oh, the character of this Baozhong is very close to High Mountain Oolong. It has this lightness, very flowery, and this zesty note also adds, this lemon notes also adds more freshness to the taste. And in a sense, this Wenshan Baozhong tastes already very, very close in one, what we would imagine High Mountain Oolong would taste like. The actual High Mountain Oolong actually tastes more, at least here in Alishan, the scents are not so strong, but the taste is very sweet and has more depth. However, both come very close to each other, which is not the case if you drink the Qingxing Oolong from Dongding. It will be oxidized a little bit higher for two reasons. One is the climate, and also to make it more suitable for roasting. But I would say if you try the Qingxing Oolong and from Dongding and the Qingxing Oolong transformed in Baozhong, so this Baozhong excellence, the Baozhong smells more like High Mountain Oolong than the Dongding. Yeah? Even though both are in this similar altitude, 600 meters, but Baozhong has this lightness in character that makes that it was such a good seller in the 19th century. It peaked we saw in 1924, and this brings us to our class to see how it evolved. So one information I have more precise is in 1885, Wang Xuejin and Wei Jing from Anxi arrived in Nangang and planted over there the first Baozhong plantation. Now there is very little left from this era in Nangang, which is in the east of Taipei. You can access it via the MRT Blue Line, but you arrive at the Nangang exhibition. But if you want to go to the Nangang Baozhong area, you still need to take a bus or even a car to drive in the small mountains that are 300 to 400 meters in altitude. Now we know that after the ports of Keelung and Danshui enabled more shipping, and the merchants of Taiwan, Baozhong and Oolong increased their skills, were able to scent their teas by themselves with flowers. They were exporting Baozhong all over Southeast Asia until 1924, when Japan had faced tariffs from the British Empire and Holland also. But until 1924, the Baozhong industry, agriculture industry, because you had, of course, the agriculture part to grow it, but also then the transformation and the scenting. So it was already a bit in between. And so we have a development of these cultures of Baozhong in the north. It spread from Nangang to the north to Shizhe, thanks to this Keelung River that could help to transport the teas to Dadaocheng for transformation. Or it spread also in the south to Xindian, Mujia, Maokong, Sheding, Shenkeng, and this is close to this Xindian Jingmei River that actually starts in Pinglin. That is also a water reservoir for the south of Taipei. And so this river enabled also the transportation of these leaves from these areas, these mountains. You can Taipei is like a plain surrounded by mountains. In the north you have Yangmingshan, on the east you have Nangang, and in the south we have Mujia, Xindian, Jingmei, and Maokong, Shankeng. And after the mountains it goes even to Pinglin, which is now the center. So, and of course Shizhe in the northeast. So these areas quickly picked up and started to grow their own Baozhong. All these places I mentioned, but it's not limited to this. This is where you still find Wenshan Baozhong, but until 1924, actually, Baozhong spread almost everywhere in the north of Taiwan. It went close to Sanzhe, next to Danshui, very close to the sea, very low altitude. You also found Baozhong in Linkou, in Taoyuan, lots of, in Sanchong, in Tuchang, and in Sanxia. Sanxia, there's still some. Now they also do this green tea, green biluchun. But so this is the peak was reached in 1924. Continued slightly thanks to we saw Manchaku in until 1945. But after that, it was more difficult for Taiwanese Baozhong to continue to compete. All along, there were also competitions in the north of Taiwan to help the promotion of Baozhong and quality, as we saw. But so for a long time, there was no concept of Wenshan Baozhong. This area became more a reality from an administration point of view when after Kuomintang took over and became the Republic of Taiwan, Republic of China in Taiwan. So nowadays the Wenshan area consists of Pinglin, where you have 1,000 hectares of plantation. In total, the Wenshan area has 2,300 hectares of plantations. So Pinglin has almost is roughly at 40%. Then we have Xindian, Shizhe, Shenkeng, Nangang, Sanxia, and a bit Pingxi in the east. The soil in Wenshan is acidic, like in most parts of Taiwan, 4.5 to 6.5 pH. It's a loamy soil with moderate organic matter, influenced by river, sediment, and a forest cover. That's why I call one of the Baozhong the subtropical forest Baozhong, because there are lots of forests that remain green the whole year long in the Wenshan area. The altitude varies. It's from 300, 400 meters around Taipei, but it's higher in Pinglin at 600 to 700 meters, which is also a reason why Pinglin has seen most plantations come to this part of this Wenshan region. It's farther from Taipei, but it is a protected area thanks to this river this Xindian River that feeds South Taipei with water. So in order to protect the quality, the purity of the water for the residents of South Taipei, there are no industries that are allowed to build factories in the Pinglin area, but it's okay to plant Baozhong tea, and that's why there's a saying in Taiwan, good water, good mountain makes good tea. So this explains the quality of Wenshan Baozhong, especially in the Pinglin area, because it is a well-protected area. First, it's mainly protected for the drinking water, but it has the advantage that the farmers in this area are the only industry that is allowed, and therefore they benefit from a bit of microclimate. Also, it's quite humid, 2,300 millimeters of rainfall per year. This is a bit less than in Alishan, but this, of course, these are averages and it can change from one year to the other. We can also see that most rain comes from May to October, and since these teas are harvested in end of April, early May, they are harvested just when the raining season starts, on a day where it's not raining, hopefully. The slopes in the Wenshan forest mountains are not as strong as in Alishan or in Shaninshi, but there are slopes, and this helps a good drainage of the plantations. This is good for the trees because it helps them to build deeper roots to get their water and nutrients deeper in the soil and get more pure nutrients and water from the soil. So all this explains the amazing quality of lightly oxidized tea that is not oolong, but that tastes very, very close to high mountain oolong, even maybe more flowery, but less power, a bit less sweetness, but with this zesty note that I like, that also gives energy. Okay, and we will also see how the process of Baozhong helps to make this tea lighter compared to the whole oolong. This will be the subject of next week's class. I hope that you will be there. Thank you very much for giving me a thumbs up if you like this class. I'm going to look if you have any questions now. And I'm saying hello to Elizabeth. And who is brewing with only 2 grams of tea and gets long-lasting sweetness. Great. And of course she's only brewing the Baozhong. So I have not decided yet which tea we will brew next week, but it will be one from the sampler, and it will help us to explore the process of Baozhong. We can already get an idea when you take some leaves of the high mountain oolong. You will see that on one stem you have several leaves, larger leaves below and smaller ones in the bud downstream, whereas Baozhong, it is always just one leaf at a time. So this is also very, very different. It's not just the dry aspect that is different, but also the open leaves. High mountain oolong will be several leaves of different heights on one stem, and Baozhong will always be just one single leaf and almost no stem. Et voilà. So that's there is something also to do with the process that is going to explain the lightness of Baozhong, and we will see it next week. Thank you very much for your interest. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy Baozhong, enjoy life. See you next week. Bye bye.